Shannon Galpin, a former Pilates instructor and single mom, was an unlikely candidate to start a global nonprofit dedicated to empowering women and girls. After giving birth to her daughter, Shannon realized that she didn't want to live in a world where women were denied opportunities just because of their gender. So she sold her house, flew to Afghanistan, and began pursuing her dream in one of the world's most troubled countries. To raise funds and awareness for her cause, Shannon decided to ride 100 miles in 2 days on a mountain bike in a country where women aren't even allowed to ride bicycles. Nick Heil is a renowned adventure journalist, a regular contributor to OutsideToday, and he accompanied Shannon on her odyssey. So tell us, how was the trip? I mean, sounds incredible.
It was incredible in a lot of different ways. You know, I went there on assignment with Outside, and in part because I'm an avid cyclist and mountain biker, and you know, an opportunity to ride a bike in a country like Afghanistan seemed like a chance in a lifetime. So that, coupled with the fact that I got to go and tell a story about a woman who was doing this sort of incredible humanitarian project over there. Those two things just made it seem like I had to go and had to try it, even though there were definitely some risks involved.
I mean, security, obviously, there's roadside bombs, I would imagine. I mean, you're in the middle of a conflict zone. Mm-hmm. Did you have any close calls?
You know, fortunately, we didn't have any close calls while I was over there. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on in the country while we were there. I was there for about 3 weeks, and we managed to stay pretty safe, even though we weren't traveling with any kind of security detail or in a military convoy or anything like that. We were really just kind of traveling autonomously, independently. We had a fixer with us and a translator at one point, but we just tried to sort of stay under the radar and stay a little incognito, not to draw attention to ourselves. So
I mean, but you must have drawn attention riding on all those roads. Did people think you're crazy? How were you received?
I think we were received well. The people that we actually interacted with seemed delighted that we were there doing it, and Shannon, because she's a Western woman and very tall and has blonde hair. She drew a lot of attention, but I think more out of curiosity and sort of intrigue than any sense that we were a threat or that we were a problem.
I'd look. Are you kidding? If I saw you guys bicycling around, I'd be interested too.
I think it was a novelty. I mean, Shannon was the first woman ever to ride a bicycle the length of the Panjshir Valley.
How was the terrain there? What was it like?
It was uphill the entire way.
Great.
Yeah, and Shannon's a strong rider, so we, there were several times when I was definitely off the back, as we say in cycling.
Right.
Very
I mean,
nice.
she seems like an incredible woman, and they're actually doing a documentary on her called Waking Lions, and we have some of that footage, so let's take a look.
So Friday morning, about 6:30 a.m., these windows blew open. We saw a big plume of smoke rising up behind the wall and realized that we'd had yet another suicide bomb attack. This one was a little bit close for comfort.
I want to be a police officer. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a doctor in the future.
I am tired and I have said enough, and that I'm not going to sit on the sidelines and allow atrocities to happen against women. It's not just the mindsets in Afghanistan I want to change. I want to change the mindsets back here. That is something that I must continue to do, and that's what I would want to set an example to my own daughter, that she had a mother that stood up for what was right.
That clip makes me feel motivated, almost borderline like inspired and kind of angry, It's nice to see one woman, one individual really making a difference, and with very little, specialized background in the sense that she was a Pilates instructor, It gives me hope, and it kind of motivates me that anyone can kind of get out there and make a change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she has an incredible sort of can-do attitude. I mean, there were lots of reasons for her not to do something like this, but she really just sort of decided that she was going to up and take on this enormous challenge and try to change the world, to use the old cliche. But
And she's doing other things than biking, right?
Oh, yeah.
She's got other programs going on.
oh yeah, you know, there's at least half a dozen different humanitarian projects that she's involved with. And, you know, some further along than others, but she's doing a literacy program in prison. She's starting a midwife training program. They're building a school for the deaf outside of Kabul. You know, there's a number of different things that she's involved with, and or various states of sort of coming together.
Is it making a difference, you think? I mean, you witnessed it firsthand, what she's doing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's like a lot of things in Afghanistan, you know, baby steps. You know, you've got to build your network. You've got to get the money in place. You've got to get the people lined up to help with the project. And then slowly, you start to gain this momentum. And I think, you know, she's about 3 years into what she's doing right now. And when I was there, I really got a sense that things were beginning to gather steam. You know, I mean, there was the construction of this deaf school that she's building was underway, and that's very exciting. You know, I mean, in Afghanistan, if you've broken ground on a project, you know that things are going to start to move in a particular direction. So, you know, yeah, it's working slowly, but it's cool to see it. Yeah.
Well, even that idea of connecting cultures. I'm sure there's, you know, she's breaking down stereotypes about that region, breaking down stereotypes about the Western culture.
Yeah, she's a big believer, and I think this is a really cool and interesting idea of bringing cultures and communities together. You know, working on, this is one of the reasons why she wanted to go to Afghanistan, to work in country, on the ground with Afghans, so that they got to know her and she got to know them, and to sort of dispel a lot of the fear and bias and prejudice that people tend to have when you don't have any contact with real people.
But there's a little bit of controversy in what she's doing too, you know, leaving her daughter here back home, going over there, risking herself. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a very valid, you know, criticism, but I also think, you know, everybody has to weigh the risks of what they're doing independently. And I don't think Shannon is reckless. I don't think she's foolish. And I think, you know, while she may be working in a dangerous place, you know, she has an idea, she has a dream, and wherever you stand on whether it's you know, a bad idea to leave your daughter behind to go do this kind of thing. Well, you know, I mean, I think she's a good mom and takes that role seriously, but she also wants to accomplish these other things and wants to figure out a way to balance those two.
Would you go back over again? Help her on another
I'd
trip?
love to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whether I would go with Shannon or not, who knows? I mean, I think what she's doing is really cool. I'd love to go ride my bike over there again. I would love to go back to Afghanistan. You know, I mean, I think one of the great tragedies of what's going on over there is that so many people can't go or feel like they can't go to this incredibly beautiful part of the world. I mean, you know, some of the terrain that we biked through was some of the most beautiful mountain country I'd ever seen, and just to be able to have that experience, you know, it was really special. And if you could go back there and ride without the fear of your own personal safety, it would be an extraordinary experience.
In time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Give us a
maybe,
little
hopefully in
longer.
our lifetime,
Yeah.
we'll see it, you know, and we could all go over there and ride along. I'd like to ride the other direction though, so it's all downhill.
You gotta go downhill next time.
Yeah, totally.
Well, incredibly interesting. Thanks for
Yeah.
stopping by. It was great having you here on the
Thank you.
show.
Thanks, guys.